Oh, right. You were tuned into Bare Knuckle Bowker. You know who this lad is. He's facing Trey Martin at BKFC Nashville. And that's coming up pretty soon, June 19th. A very unique market there and a very intriguing fight. And there's always intriguing fights coming up when I have Nathan Rivera on Bare Knuckle Bowker. How are you doing, man?
I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, dude, Nashville is it's a new state for the company, a new state for the sport. So I'm super excited that I was selected to open up another state.
No, for sure. It's very cool that you're a part of this. And I think that articulates a certain something to your point, just the fact that you're, having that kind of progression, that you're part of these advances into the newer markets and stuff like that. So that has to be like, I guess, like a tip of the cap in a certain way. Like, I mean, I feel like you've always been a guy who really, like, I guess, makes note of those kind of things and takes a certain level of importance and a point of pride and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I became a fan of bare knuckle when I watched it live for the first time. When I had already fought and I went to the back room, changed out, and then I started watching the fights after. I was my first fight. I was early on the card, and I realized, dude, this is exciting. So part of the event, it's definitely I don't take it lightly at all. And it is I do believe it is like what you said. It is a certain level of responsibility to give the fans what they want. So I remember I opened up Virginia, Atlanta, Michigan. So now another one in Nashville. I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's not quite a clean like year after the fact. It's like a year and change, but I guess it's still kind of cool all the same. Just the fact that like around this time last year, you got that multi-fight deal at the BKFC Philly card and stuff like that. Just yeah, it seems like some cool stuff is happening. And then since then, like the Tommy Strydom fight where you had that post about from prospect to contender and first co-main event. So yeah, it seems like each time you're incrementally leveling up and doing cool new things and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, I like to fight. I just love to fight, and I want to fight the best guys on the roster. It's cool because once you get what I'm learning now is you get that co-main or you get that main or whatever you get. It's very rare that you go backwards. And I want to continue to go up the same way that they're, last my last fight was a co-main and it was against the former number one contender. He fought for the belt, and that was his only loss. So I felt like that was fitting. And now again to be co-main against Trey Martin, who's only 1-0 in the company, but has a wealth of knowledge and experience outside the squared circle. It's definitely an honor to be co-main. I kind of like being. I've never been the main event for BKFC, but I kind of like the idea of being co-main, going back and changing, and then giving everybody a hug that came out to support me.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's kind of the interesting thing. And I was trying to find a way to serve that thought as well. And I think you did a great job of doing it because Trey Martin is like in that pocket of like a demonstrably dangerous opponent. Like maybe not that localized, bare knuckle specific cachet, but someone you still have to focus on in a certain regard. And I feel like that's the mentality to have because I feel like some of the comments I was seeing were like, oh, why isn't he fighting like Plazaola or et cetera, something of that persuasion. But I mean, obviously, Martin has his own unique challenges that he brings to the ring, which you're acknowledging. So I feel like you're in a good pocket in that kind of regard.
Yeah, and it didn't go without trying. We tried. Of course, we would love to get the number one contender fight. From Edgar's point of view, I can understand why that wasn't super. He didn't jump on that opportunity. He's number one. He's ahead of me. He wants to fight for the belt next. I could see why he wouldn't want to go backwards to get a risky fight. And Trey was definitely not the first option. We had a lot of guys that we had sent contracts out to, and we didn't get anything. And I'm not saying all these guys were scared of me or something like that. It just I think it was 4 or 5 guys that just didn't work out in a row. So it was getting a little disheartening. But I remember whenever my manager sent me the name, he was like, "Any interest in that?" And I was thinking to myself, Trey Martin, I thought I saw that guy fight live at like 165. And then I looked it up and he was fighting at 165, but he weighed in at like 153. So super, obviously very under the limit. Definitely a natural 45er, but I didn't really have I didn't really have my eyes on him before because I thought, okay, this guy's nowhere near my weight class. But
Hmm.
um, it's one of those fights where every fight's a risky fight, you know, and I think being the favorite, just calling it what it is, being the favorite is definitely a different set of pressures, especially in the bare knuckle squared circle. It's a different experience, and you know, he's coming from 17 professional fights. I think he just won maybe 2 weeks ago. He had a second round finish in boxing, so he's current, he's young, he's hungry, and it's like he has nothing to lose and I have everything to lose kind of mentality. So I'm super excited. I think the clash of between those two mentalities and our two styles was like it's definitely fireworks going to be happening for the fans.
Yeah, and I feel like you're not someone who would like have that component of like overlooking someone. Like I feel like you take probably a point of pride in terms of where you're at in the rankings, at least maybe through the lens of how it could serve your upward mobility in general, ambitions within bare knuckle. But like it wouldn't seem like it would cloud your ability to like approach this kind of fight the way that you need to, like in terms of like that overlooking kind of piece that you were kind of touching on, and just maybe like the fact that like your opponent is like a little more unheralded, like in like the bare knuckle specific space, I suppose.
Yeah, and I do think that you know every fight is the most important fight. I think that that's the case. I think that maybe a win over Trey Martin could bump me to the number one contender. I'm not positive. You know, Plazaola's 6-0. I'm 5-0. I would say that Plazaola's best win was against Gary Fox, which that's he's not a slouch by any means. He's 4-3. Um, you know, his last fight was Gary Fox. My last fight was Tommy Strydom. You know, one of them was a former number one contender. One of them fought for the U.S. belt. One of them has the UK belt. So it's just kind of like, you know, I think those caliber fighters are kind of equal. So I think it's a race to see who gets to 7-0 first to be the number one contender. But who knows? I don't know who does the rankings. I don't know who makes them. Uh, I do think that there's a lot of guys that are pretty good that are not in the rankings, and I think that hopefully in the near future we can get the rankings mixed up with some of these real like big dogs from other promotions. Like well, there's a guy that just came from BKB and just won. I think he might be 7 or 8-0 now.
Oh, Harry Gigliotti.
Yeah, Harry. He's another guy that like not in the rankings, but I think he should be in the rankings from his resume. You know, so there's just so many fighters in the 45 division, and I'm just happy to be in the mix.
Yeah, you know what's weird about that? I'm one of the BKFC rankings panelists. I couldn't even tell you another one. I truly have no idea.
Yeah, I mean it's a you guys got a hard job because I mean it is like it's a hard job, man. And you know, it's like, do you go for the sport or do you like judge for the company itself or like whatnot? I don't know. I'm sure there's a list of criteria and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
I just know that 45 has like I think they could make a top 10 out of 45 and 55. Like I'm not too sure about the other weight classes, but I know 55 for sure. I think 45 for sure. Like you could get a top 10 and have it stacked, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I truly am even surprised by the rankings that come out myself, and I'm a
Yeah.
panelist. I'll see like the final results, and I'm like, and again, it's weird. It's not like a disrespecting any of the particular fighters kind of piece, but it is like, oh, that is a curiosity that this person would be ranked and then this guy wouldn't. And then, yeah, to your point, I feel like I also have that quandary with like, say, welterweight, for instance. Like, I feel like there should be a top 10 here, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's an exciting time to be in the BKFC. I like what they're doing, which I don't know if this is like intentional or not, but I heard Dave Feldman talking about maybe like putting all the belts together, you know, and just having one world title. So you see a lot of these guys like the US champs going to fight the UK or the European and just kind of I'm not sure what they're planning to do with that, but I definitely have my eyes on it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and I guess even interwoven within that, I guess that fight coming up later on this week with Connor Tierney and Rico Franco running it back, I believe it's for an interim welterweight belt. And I think both of them have some semblance of like European slash UK hardware, but they are fighting for like a more recognized like world belt. Like it's kind of within that language more so. So yeah, kind of even a tendril to it in that regard. And that's an intriguing fight, the Darren Till debut on that card as well.
Yeah, I mean I got my eyes peeled on that card. That's a fun card. Excuse me. The guys in the UK, they come to fight. I was trying to get on that card to go fight Gary Fox so bad. I was like pushing for it to get over there. I thought it'd be so fun going to someone's backyard. Um, but you know, maybe that's a fight down the line. Who knows? But I mean that especially with the addition of Darren Till. I mean, that's going to bring a lot of eyeballs that probably weren't there before.
Well, I think some people are wondering if it's going to be a catalyst for like a Mike Perry fight, like give Darren Till a fight where he can maybe like test his mettle and see where he's at, and then maybe try to book that long-awaited fight thereafter. I feel like Perry's like BKFC specific cachet, and even especially after that Netflix fight with Nate Diaz, I mean, I feel like that could be an all-timer for BKFC if all the parts fall into place and whatnot for them.
Yeah, and I think that has to be their end goal. I'm not writing the book on it, but I mean, if I was in charge, I mean, that would have to be the end goal: is get his feet wet in bare knuckle, see how he does, and then run that Mike Perry fight. I mean, that would bring eyeballs from the boxing world, the MMA world, bare knuckle world. I mean, all just combat sports in general. That's definitely an anticipated fight.
And I guess even tying certain things together, like a former opponent of Mike Perry's, Eddie Alvarez, was talking about the looming UFC return of BKFC figurehead Conor McGregor, and talking about how if he were to win that Max Holloway rematch coming up, it would be tantamount to like one of the biggest upsets in combat sports history, just because of all the variables of like the return, the prior injury, caliber of opponent, etc. Like, what are your thoughts on just the general return of McGregor, and I guess maybe even to an extent that sentiment from Alvarez there?
Man, I think I heard somebody say the other day, like, I'm not gonna believe it until the cage door closes behind him. And I was like, I could see that. Um, I think that, like, man, he love him or hate him. I mean, the guy has. I think he kind of helped like save the UFC, right? Like, I mean, when he came into MMA, it was like, holy crap, this is like we're watching the Conor McGregor fight. You know what I mean? Like, it was just so. I remember when Conor McGregor knocked out Jose Aldo, like I was like 15 maybe, and I was just like, what just happened? Jose Aldo was like my favorite fighter growing up. As I remember when I was young, I looked up MMA and I saw Jose Aldo kicking Uriah Faber's legs off, and I was like, this is so cool. So like seeing that rise, I have buddies that are into MMA now, and they like weren't into it back then, and I was like, dude, it was a different time, man. So like to see him back, I think it's super cool. I think either way it goes, I mean, it's probably going to do numbers. You know what I mean, for the fans, and I'm excited to see what happens. I think he has what, 2 fights left in his contract for the UFC.
Mhm.
So this one and maybe another one, and then who knows? I mean, I know he said he wanted to fight in bare knuckle, and just seeing something like that would be insane. As a fan, as the fan inside of me would love that.
Yeah, it's just cool to see so many options for the athletes out there. Like, I feel like this is such a great time for athletes in the combat sports world to like more pursue those independent contractor opportunities that we sometimes talk about. Like, I think it's cool that like a lot of these fighters can, go do, karate combat if they're inclined, or do some sort of submission grappling event. And just there's like such a multiplicity of options for like people. And it just seems cool, like just the opportunities and then the ability to be kind of creative within that and sort of do your thing. Like, I think it's cool that real American freestyle kind of has a place. Like, it's just kind of like a, all strokes for, or I guess like a buffet table for everyone might be the
Yeah,
analogy piece. You can kind of come up and fill your plate with whatever, essentially. Just
yeah. So I got buddies that they were signed to the UFC or they were signed to PFL, and they had these contracts, and they built a name for themselves. And then when their contract was up or they got let go or whatever, they just kind of that if you have good management, you can just really go who's the highest bidder and go over there. I mean, like the person that does that the best, I would say, is like is Luke Rockhold. He does that incredible. Like, I mean, he really his last 5 fights probably have been like bare knuckle, boxing, an MMA fight over here, back to the UFC, going over here. Like, it just bounced around karate combat. So it's cool to see like that avenue for athletes. Like it used to be like you just got the UFC. You got UFC, you got Bellator, and then you got boxing. Right now, there's just so many different things opened up for these big name fighters.
And you strike me as a guy that, like, I mean, I don't know, maybe this is a bit of a presumption. I feel like you're someone who's maybe like pretty squarely focused on bare knuckle now. Like, you've done like Muay Thai before, like you've had a few MMA fights, etc. I mean, boxing and whatnot. I mean, it seems like it'd be one of those things that you're maybe more so focused on singularly seeing what you can do within the bare knuckle world at this point. But if you were to kind of like wave your wand and kind of have your way of things, like if you were to do an outside like BKFC fight, like would a certain promotion or particular rule set, I guess, get your interest and kind of draw you in and entice you to want to compete for like another promotion if that was available?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm pretty young in my career as a professional. I've only had, including my one MMA fight, I've only had 6 fights. So I still feel green, which I've had a lot of amateur fights, but I mean, as a professional, only 6 fights is not a lot. So I really love where I'm at. I love that the BKFC is taking care of me, and I'm doing my best to take care of them, and we're growing together. If there was ever an opportunity for me to like make my boxing debut, I would really love that. Just because it's one of those things that I've always wanted to like dip my toe in, but I'm not sure if I ever really want to go that route until bare knuckle, until I have my world titles and I'm like, okay, like I'm good, and like I really want to plant and make a home here in BKFC, just because I think that my skill set is is really really fitting to the rule set here. I just feel at home in there. I feel super comfortable. I think all of my attributes really get to shine in bare knuckle. I mean, there's a lot of cool boxing. Like it would be cool to go beat up a influencer and misfits or something like that for a big bag of money. But as it stands right now, dude, bare knuckle is definitely the home for me.
You got to continue the elite level athletics, like your elite level foosball player dad. You got to
Yeah,
add to the family legacy.
yeah, man. If you're in Canada, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you probably got a lot of Filipinos over there because Canada has a ton of Filipinos.
yeah.
Filipinos, they always have to have a talent. They always have to have something. Family reunions are like talent shows. So uh, I definitely have to keep on with the martial arts. That's my thing.
Oh, so that's your talent. Like that's what you showcase in that kind of sense.
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
That's it.
No, I love that, man. And I saw a recent post where you were kind of, and I see the vision here, and I think it's cool. You were talking about how Theo Vaughn loves Filipino people and loves combat sports, and he lives in Nashville. Are we making any kind of motion here to getting like a Theo Vaughn entrance here? I know like Shane Gillis walked out for like the Knucklemania card, and that was a fun thing. Like, are we making any motion with this Theo Vaughn walkout piece?
Man, we've had so many people hit him up. I know the BKFC was on it. They were hitting his like his hotline for his this past weekend
Mm-hmm.
podcast. So we were trying, everyone was tagging him, sending stuff in. I haven't heard anything yet, but I know I have a meeting set soon with the BKFC, so we'll see if they were able to make way. I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be a fun it would just be a fun experience for him, I'm sure, to walk a fighter out. He's never been to a bare knuckle fight live, so I think it'd be really fun for him to go check it out. And I told him I got a seat in the corner ready for him if he wants to come and corner his first fight. So we'll see if he sees. I'm sure he's a busy guy. I know that he doesn't have any tour dates that day, but he probably, someone like that is bouncing all around, I'm sure.
And I feel like he's a fan of BKFC. Like he seems to enjoy that. I mean, he seems like a combat sports fan in general. Like I think it's cool. Like when you see him at these UFC events, he's there for like the first prelim fight onward, just like a true fan in that kind of regard. But yeah, it seems like he has that, I guess efficient or that I guess drawn in kind of piece that passion for BKFC specifically. So I mean, yeah, that would be super cool. Hopefully that meeting later yields some positive results in that regard.
Absolutely, absolutely.
No, but yeah, very exciting times, man. I guess like I'm curious as to like what your specific vision for this fight is. Like I've referenced a couple times you had a coworker who was like, "Oh man, don't knock this guy out in 20 seconds. Like give me something to kind of, sink my teeth into and to kind of watch for a little bit." Like what's the I guess vision of how this story unfurls in Nashville here coming up?
So every fight I prepare for like a 5 round war, and then I prepare for 5 rounds of me just jabbing somebody in the face. I prepare for having to send some power shots early. So I don't know exactly what to expect. I think it's going to be super exciting. I know what Trey is going to be coming with. He seems game. He seems hungry, and he really seems focused on this. I know that he's not one of those guys that does a lot of wrestling and Muay Thai and stuff like that. Like I think he's really focusing on the hands. So I think I think that the fight itself is going to be super exciting, and I think that you can't bring anything less to Nashville. I mean, these people. Tennessee, from what I've heard, I have a couple buddies that fight in the UFC, and they were like, "Dude, Nashville fans are awesome." So I know I got to bring it.
Yeah, I know it's super cool and love to see the company getting into like a newer market, just even as to like serve the idea of the sport continuing to expand. And then, yeah, in your individual story, a part of another very cool thing. But yeah, it's always great getting to talk to you, Nathan. I do want to be cognizant of your time, though. I know you're a busy lad and everything. You got so much on the go, not just with bare knuckle, but just with your, personal life and just, yeah, you're juggling a lot of things, man. So just always appreciate you making the time and figured I'd give you the floor if you had a final parting thought you felt inclined to add here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you getting me on here and giving me the time. Sorry we had to reschedule so many times, but yeah, man, if last parting thing is if you were in the Nashville area, come through. We got a couple sections sold out of a bunch of people that are coming out to support me. It's a blessing always to be in this position to fight, and to talk to good people like you about it. So I appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, no, always good having you on. Bare Knuckle Bowker, man. Really excited for this Trey Martin fight on June 19th coming up at BKFC Nashville. And yeah, no, always great getting to chop it up, man. You have a good rest of your day. And yeah, all the best.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.